Hello guys, this is Dee. I have kind of a cool video to make for you guys today, and it's a little bit out there even for me. I will admit this, but it's really cool. And it's something I'm learning just today. So I had an experience yesterday. So I'll give you some backstory here. I had, in one of my old positions in my work, where I worked, there was a particular time during that job where I had to speak French. So I didn't know how to speak French. Someone had to do it. So I'm like, I'll learn French. So I learned I got the Rosetta Stone method out. I went and bought it. I learned how to speak French quite well, actually. Very surprisingly, it worked quite well. I was really good at some parts of it. I was really good at conjugating. Not as strong a vocabulary, but I got by. Like I knew enough. I was able to get by. I wasn't fantastic, but I got by. I was okay. So enough that I was able to do my job and do what I needed to do, speaking French and understanding it. And then yesterday I'm having a conversation with someone that I know that's only a French speaker, and I'm struggling. I'm like struggling to get by, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I don't understand. 2 years ago I could speak French, and now I'm struggling. So I was thinking about it. It was bugging me all night, thinking about it. So I borrowed a book a while ago off a friend of mine, and it was on neuroplasticity and on learning and how we work neurologically, and I learned something new. So previously in my life, I had always thought that we learned up until a certain age, our brains grew and grew, and they developed and grew branches and connections, and we were growing these connections, and then at a certain age, the connecting stopped. And then as we didn't experience certain things, or we weren't exposed to certain things, we would start pruning connections that we didn't need. And that was called synaptic pruning. And we would start cutting out all these connections and things in our life that we don't need because that wasn't part of our lifestyle. For instance, I might not need to learn all the methods of cutting down trees because I don't use those connections. That I don't use that skill. So all the connections associated with that skill are cut off, like pruned, gone, because the brain wipes them out and makes room for stuff that we are using. And I didn't think that we continued to build connections for our brain to change, further develop, grow, and learn as we got older. I thought what we were stuck with, and we could struggle and learn something new, but it wouldn't be as ingrained or come naturally or be as easy for us as it was when we were younger. So that is still true. It's harder to learn as an adult, but sorry guys, still in the smoothies. I'm living on this. But I started reading this morning. I got up like crazy early at like 4 a.m, and I started reading about neuroplasticity. And I'll give you an example. So let's say you don't know how to swim, and you go to like a pool party in the summer, and you've got a nephew that's like, I can teach you how to swim, no problem. And your nephew teaches you how to swim, and you pick it up. Like you learn that you're swimming, you're staying in the shallow end, but you're making it from one side of the pool to the other, back and forth. And you're like, oh my God, my whole life I couldn't swim. And today you've made that connection somehow, and your brain, the chemicals are working, and you're swimming. And then the next day you go back to the pool to swim because you're so proud, you're excited to go swimming because now you know how to swim, and you can't do it. And you wonder, you're like, I don't understand. I swam yesterday. Why can't I make it work today? And that's because as we learn as we're adults, the theory of the neuroplasticity is that our brain changes as we learn chemically, which changes, and if I'm wrong about any of this, I apologize. I'm doing my best to reiterate and with the amount of understanding that I got from reading for a couple hours. Chemically is going to give us a short-term learning experience, which is what that swimming would have been. Short-term learning, short-term memory. We needed it, we used it, and then it's gone. And then our brain also has the ability to change its physical structure. This is craziness. And that will implement long-term learning, long-term. So for me, I think my French speaking would have been somewhere between chemical and physical change. And there must have been some physical change because I remembered some of it, and I was able to still get by yesterday. So not as well as I had 2 years ago, but I was able to make the cut. I could have a conversation yesterday. It was just like a struggle. And then it also our brain also changes in function to learn new things as well and to perform new activities. So it's chemical for short-term. Chemical changes initiate short-term memory. Physical changes initiate long-term memory, and function works in symphony with the rest of it, okay? So, and none of these things are all working independently. They're all changing and growing together at the same time. So each time you're making those chemical changes and picking something up short term, so each time you go to piano practice, each time you go, yes, it is a chemical change that's happening that's helping you learn that new song. But over time, and you keep putting time in and practicing and learning, those chemical changes are initiating physical long-term changes, and our brain is changing long-term to accommodate this new learning and these new connections that we need to be able to perform this task on a consistent basis and on a long-term basis. And the way our brain functions, the way things are connected, and the way electricity and our brain signs and signals and that are being moving around our brain is also changing in order to send signals to these new connections and new places and larger areas of the brain. In the book, an example was given that, for instance, people who read Braille, the part of their brain that's connected to touch is enormous compared to someone who doesn't read Braille. Or if I'm a right-handed person, then that left side of my brain that controls my right hand is going to be much larger, because as we know, the brain with our body is a cross. Like my left side is controlling the right side of my body. The right side is more controlling the function of the left side of my body. So it works opposite that way. If you've never heard that before, that's kind of an odd conundrum kind of thing to understand, but that's how it works. But anyways, I just wanted to share this little thing about neuroplasticity with you, because I just started reading it. I've only been reading for about 5 hours, but I'm going to keep reading because I'm excited about it, and it's really cool. And I'm always trying to learn stuff. If you know me, you know this. Like, I'm learning languages. I'm learning whatever I can get my hands on. I love learning stuff. So particularly medical and science stuff is really my niche. It's stuff I enjoy. So I'm going to keep on this track, and I will share with you as I learn. But I just thought that was so cool and exciting. I really, all my life, believed that we weren't building new connections and new learning pathways after childhood. And we absolutely are, and we have the ability to do so. Not just on a short-term basis. We're not just picking up a skill and a habit. We're not training ourselves. We are actually changing the structure of our brain. And we have the ability to do so and to learn permanently new skills, new talents, new knowledge, to pick up new stuff. It's just unbelievable to be. It blew my mind first thing in the morning, like on a weekend. Anyway, I wanted to share that with everybody. I don't know how interesting that is to everybody else, but it's crazy interesting to me. I find it really exciting, and I had to share. So on that note, I hope everyone has a lovely Saturday, and I'm going to read. And I will see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.